Holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh,
I'm ready. Oh, now I just need to come back to you because I was over there and I still want to be able to see your face. Come back to me. Okay.
Hi, I'm Patricia. Before recorded history, humans knew singing as a deep source of power. Power to change, power to heal, power to be present with what is. Right here, right now, we are remembering the ancient gift of song, using modern tech to help us tap into resilience and capacity in what are chaotic and difficult times. Welcome to the 140th episode of A Breath of Song. I'm so glad you chose to do this today. I know I'm so amazed to have gotten here. It's extra special because Heidi Wilson is joining us for a songwriter conversation. Hi, Heidi. Welcome.
Thank you.
We are here to find more ways to sing songs that help us heal, adapt, and grow. Your voice is exactly what's needed for this. I'm coming to you straight from my home in what is now called Burlington, Vermont, on the unceded ancestral lands of the Abenaki people. And Heidi, tell us where you're calling from.
Well, if you were to get into the Winooski River, which is not too far from where you live, and go upstream a bunch of miles, you'd come to my house. Just about a half a block from my house, actually, here in Plainfield, Vermont.
Beautiful. All of our voices will turn up as they are today. And no matter what, we can feel the connection to our breath and the vibration in our body. Let's find how good it can feel to sing. Last week, I shared Heidi's song, Bend and Rebound, about the willows, remember? Today, Heidi will be teaching us the feast. We'll learn it slowly so it can settle inside you and you can begin to trust it as a resource. Let it move you into a state of flow. Then we get to enjoy a conversation with Heidi, and we'll close out with the song again at the end. You'll always be able to find the episode with full show notes and artwork and the whole shebang in the Library of Songs at abreathofsong.com. Let's start with a good yawn stretch. Maybe roll your shoulders a bit, stretch your back. You'll hear both Heidi and me moving around, creaking. I don't know, do you audibly creak, Heidi?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Doing what feels good. We're getting into morning bodies here. We're recording this in the morning. I don't know what time of day you're listening and exploring this, but find where your body is right now. Find space. As that breath comes in, notice it can fill up into nooks and crannies, and as it moves out, let it release and relax in your throat. Just allow the sound to appear. See if you can slide it up and down your spine. Imagine your spine as a slippery sliding spot. Yeah, doesn't that feel good? Now try some scrunchy up sounds. Your face all going. Wonderful. Heidi, are you feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you to share this song.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to start by singing it for you. The Feast. Holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy. And it's hard to stop singing. Just wraps around and keeps on going. And the words are holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
Oh, I love those words.
So I'll do it line by line. We'll do call and echo. I'll imagine you echoing back to me. Holy fire in the sun.
Holy fire in the sun.
Water in the river and wind within my lungs.
Water in the river and wind within my lungs.
Holy earth beneath my feet.
Holy earth beneath my feet.
All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
Great. I'll do that one more time and I'll sing the response this time. Holy fire in the sun.
Holy fire in the sun.
Water in the river and wind within my lungs.
Water in the river and wind within my lungs.
Holy earth beneath my feet.
Holy earth beneath my feet.
All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
Great. That's the whole thing. I'm just going to loop it through a couple times and you can sing along. It starts here. Holy fire in the sun. Water in the river and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy fire in the sun. Water in the river and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh.
Do it again, do
Let's
it
keep
again,
going.
more times.
Holy fire in the sun. Water in the river and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy fire in the sun. Water in the river and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy
So I was playing a little bit. I hope that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what a fabulous song. I love the way all of the elements are there and then we are included. You know, sometimes when I sing songs about the elements of fire and earth and water and air, I almost feel like I don't belong sometimes. And I love the way this brings me right inside the song.
That's awesome. For me, this song is like, I'm pretty much always wanting to sing another song of gratitude for the elements and for the wild ones and for the humans and for all of us. And every time I eat a meal, I'm like, another thank you song is needed. But then I get tired of singing like, thank you. It's not like the easiest word to say. Like,
it is not.
Thank you. So I'm always looking like, what's another way to say thank you?
Yeah.
And something about recognizing the holiness in others is for me a way of singing thank you and of recognizing that like I am taking that food in and I am also giving it out. And so that being woven into it for me is a part of that. Like we are always giving our offerings, but we're also at the feast and receiving those offerings.
I love that. So you participate in many different camps and workshops and things where people are coming to receive and you are there as well, you know, song leading. I'm wondering what that experience is like for you in terms of reciprocity, how you deal with the flow. And I hear some people coming out of things like that and they're like, oh, I'm exhausted. I feel drained. You know, it took so much from me. Tell me about your experience.
It's interesting. It's like, there's something that happens to me that is about like how big I am. I don't really know how else to say that, but it's like when I'm in a circle of people and I'm leading singing, sometimes I'm like so exhausted beforehand and I'm like, I would never go to this unless I was the one leading it and I have to go. And so I like go. And then as soon as I'm there, it's like I somehow like get bigger. My energetic body gets bigger. And then I'm like, I'm lifted by the people who are there and I'm lifted by the singing there. And then it is this real give and take. And then I feel so grateful for that. Like I step into it and I'm as much fed as I am feeding. And then afterwards, sometimes I'm like, and I feel myself shrinking back down to like rinky-dinky Heidi going home size. And I don't know, that's part of my journey.
I feel like that opening and close, it's so natural, right? I mean, it's what flowers do. They open, they close. Trees leaf out, they drop leaves. Our lungs, they breathe in and breathe out. That this opening and closing motion is a very natural movement.
Yeah, totally.
Our last songwriter conversation was actually with Meg Odell Chittenden.
Oh, nice.
And you'll be sharing songs together at the Songweavers Family Camp in Maine. And tell me a little bit about the different kinds of groups that you reach with music. You go around and do different things. Tell me about them.
Okay. Well, summer camps, and what I love about the camp in Maine that Meg coordinates is that it's all ages. So we're singing with little kids, we're singing with the families. There's times where we're all together, there's times where we're apart. And that is a very, like, not a lot of paper, not a lot of sheet music, really oral tradition kind of singing, which I love. And then I lead a couple different groups here in Vermont, like a 5-week series right now, which is people can come for the whole time or drop in. And that's mostly adults, but some kids. And it's just once a week singing songs for the seasons. So right now we're in a deep winter singing series. And that's been an interesting journey. I used to, like, for 10 years, I led every other week community singing in Plainfield. But then during the pandemic, that all shut down. And then during the pandemic, this is a slight tangent, but I got to start singing with a small group, with a trio. And so that started to take me away more. So I'm like, okay, how do I really hold that balance of showing up for my community and also going on these adventures with a smaller group? So anyway, the way I figured that out is like, okay, when I'm home for 5 weeks or 6 weeks, I lead a singing series. And that's just such a treat to see, because I never know who's going to show up. I love making things available as drop-in. So we have enough people who are really building the songs and the repertoire for a few weeks, but it's always welcome to people who would be too nervous to sign up for a whole thing. So I do that. And then the other main thing at home is these seasonal celebrations. They're like I gather people together for solstice and for equinox, and we like remember our place in the big spinning of the earth. And that has been a really also exciting thing to see over the years. That's multi-generational, and to see like, ooh, kids who were babies and now they're like kind of almost teenagers. That's crazy. And not quite that long, but the little guys are now like older kids, and to see them know all the words and be used to coming to a seasonal sing, a sacred sing, is just like blows my mind and makes me feel quite old.
Yeah, there is that. So I'm curious about so many things that you just talked about, and I'll start with asking, when you, as a song leader, when you're gathering and you're working with a group, you don't know who's going to arrive, who's going to show up. What is your preparation like, and how does it shift depending on the quality of the group? And when I say quality, I don't mean skill, or I mean kind of the vibe of the group.
Well, I like make a circle of chairs. I always put out too few because I'm terrified of it feeling like sparse and pathetic. But then I also want to have enough chairs so that the stragglers feel welcome. But there's also this funny dance where I like it to be cozy, but then I like everybody to help make the circle bigger together. So we're like, ooh, together we're welcoming people in, and we're welcoming people in. I don't know. That's an ongoing funny thing. But I want it to be a really nice circle. And I want it to be a circle that people feel welcome in. And then I have a big list of songs I've thought beforehand. What are ones that are simple enough and that at least some of the people there already know, so they can like help swoop in other people? What are some that are complex enough that it'll be like satisfying for people who really thrive on a little bit more complicated harmony? And what are the ones that are easy enough that it will be like, oh, a call and response. We'll start with a call and response, and everyone is feeling success. So I'm like crafting this potential list of songs, and then I pretty much immediately abandon them when people show up based on someone's like, oh, like last night, this kid who was there, he's the only kid in this singing group, and he really wanted to sing this song about chickadees. And I was like, yes, abandoned mission. We're singing the song for the kid, you know? So it's really always feeling out what is most alive for the group and trying to balance that with my own agenda of like what I thought might be good for the group.
Nice. What's different about sharing a song with somebody who's 16 or 17 versus 60 or 70?
Well, I didn't mention that for the last, like, 10 or something years, I've also been working with Village Harmony, this organization that leads camps, a lot for teens, but then also for adults, and teaching music from sort of traditional harmonic styles around the world. So I've worked with other leaders who are teaching South African or Corsican or Georgian music, and that I've led with teens a bunch. And so those teens are just like, in that context, they're fearless. They're like,
beautiful.
There's a culture that's been grown in those camps to like go for it, you know? And they're just like trying on being singers who like sing ripping chest voice, Corsican music, 3-part harmony. Wah! And so offering to them is exciting because they gobble it up. Whereas at home, sometimes the teenagers, if it's like a multi-age group, will be a little more shy. But then once they have it, then they're fierce. I love that. So I love that. And with older folks, boy, it really depends on the person. But I feel like it also depends on if they've been hurt musically, if they've been shamed. Like, I'm working with a couple of older singers right now in the groups who are just like being so brave by joining the group because it's been 60 years since their elementary chorus teacher kicked them out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? Why does that have to happen?
Yes.
So I can see that they're dealing with like a lot of stress and a lot of like trauma response, and they're sweaty and they're like trying so hard to be good. And I'm like, you're so welcome here.
Yeah.
It takes all of us to bring these songs to life, and you are welcome. And so I basically, in that situation, I'm just like, try to let them know they're welcome, and then just like be a cheerleader. And I like find what I'm honestly excited about and what I heard, and then I'm just like, woohoo! And I point that out, and I'm not like patronizing. I'm like actually excited about something, and then I sing the praises for that, and then I welcome it again, and then I welcome it again. And if we're having a hard time learning the song, I just like sort of humbly and jokingly take that on myself, and I'll be like, oh great, let me give myself another chance to teach that more clearly.
Nice.
So that's something how I work with people of different ages. And I also like to sing a song that doesn't have any set harmonies kind of early on to just see what's in the group, see what people's instincts are harmonically. Because I do a lot of teaching parts, teaching harmony parts, but whenever possible, I like to be like, ooh, what have we got without me bossing everyone around? And then depending on the group, it really depends what songs come out next also.
Yeah. Maybe there's somebody listening to this podcast who is a very beginning song leader. They've come to it. They love singing. They love songs. And they're thinking of starting a circle. They're interested. What would you say to them?
I would say, what questions do you have?
And they say, what wisdom do you have for me?
Okay, I would say... Well, it's interesting. I just taught a song leading workshop. I've only taught a couple of those, but I'm getting more and more requests for that. So it feels exciting to be like, okay, how do I learn to like pass that along and nurture in other people who are excited to be song leading in my community and in other places? And I feel like there are some excellent song leaders and excellent song leader resources out there. I've learned a bunch from my friend Liz Rogg, who's out in Iowa, who has written some beautiful words about how to do some song leading. But I'm pulling together what were some great morsels from that and from my own experience. I would say sing. As much as possible, you don't have to talk that much. Just really let yourself sing. Introduce the songs to give them some context and to give a story about where they're from, so, to honor their lineage of where they're coming from. But as much as possible, sing. Just model and invite, and model and invite, and let yourselves sing. Because people, when they're nervous in a singing group, tend to like la 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 la, and then everyone's chiming in and they forget that they're there to sing. And so it takes courage to like step into that role of like model and invite, and then just let the songs happen and let yourself mess up. It's okay. It's like, it can be actually kind of funny and welcoming if you mess up and then you don't care. That's what I would say.
So you are also performing with this trio. What's different about performing to song leading? How do you find those two complement each other or draw out different qualities in yourself?
Yeah. Well, for a long time, I grew up singing in church and then did teenage singer-songwriter, guitar kind of stuff. And then I moved to Vermont and saw this Village Harmony concert of teenagers singing this epic traditional harmony music. And I was like, that was supposed to be me.
Why didn't I go there?
I was in Wisconsin, but I didn't know that this was happening in Vermont. And anyway, so then I found out about Village Harmony and about choral music, but that was not sheet music all, but that was like also rooted in traditional harmony structures. And that was so exciting. So then I kind of abandoned singer-songwriter stuff and was like, I just want to be in the choir, and did that for a long time. And then also was leading singing groups sort of simultaneously. And I was never really trained. I just was like in it. And it was always what I was most passionate about. So I love like when everybody is singing. But then, so Willie and Serena and I, who are the other folks in this trio called Heartwood, we met on a singing tour with Village Harmony, with this like semi-professional wing of that organization called Northern Harmony. So we toured around for 2 months in the UK and France and Basque Spain, and got to do workshops and performances. And that's like performing, but within a bigger ensemble.
Is that like 16 people?
Yeah. I think we were like 14. It was like between 12 and 16, depending on the year. I think we were something like 14. And so we're doing workshops, but then performances. And my favorite moment in the performance is always when we swoop the audience back in, you know, the folks who were there and at the workshop and know the song. And I'm like, woohoo, at last, we swooped them back in. So singing with Willie and Serena, it's like the delight for me is that we all were rooted in also teaching singing. So we get to do the thing that is so delicious, which is like honing in on the really tight harmonies that happen with the three of us, and then open that up and welcome in the big group. And so like my big dream is that weaving from the tiny to the big, to the tiny to the big, and having the like small tight ensemble that can like make possible a bigger harmony for the larger group. So that weaving back and forth is what's most exciting to me. And we're working on this, I'm just on a rampage right now, but we're working on this musical that's like the three of us and then the audience is in, and then the three of us and the audience comes back in. So nice. The back and forth is the dream.
Yeah. So A Breath of Song is about this library of songs that help us heal and adapt and grow as we sing them. And I started it during the pandemic because I was trying to find ways to encourage us to keep singing for ourselves if we'd been singing in groups and that was not available to us. And what I've been finding for myself is that even though I'm now singing with groups again and, you know, leading different groups, and I still am turning to these songs. They've become like, they've replaced my brain chatter in a way. The stuff that used to be going on saying, well, you're not really very good at this, and oh my goodness, look at what you just did, and just all of the negative brain chatter. I've now found that I have songs that I can just pull in and have going instead. And it's been a turning thing for me. I am wondering whether or not you end up using song as a tool in your life. I hear you saying you use it for saying thanks, for gratitude. And how else do you use it or not?
Yeah, I love that question. I feel like it's woven throughout my day. It's woven through like gratitude practices, and also like there's one song that I sing when I run past this cattail marsh to say hello and to say thank you. And there's a song that I sing in the morning. A lot of those are thank you songs because those are the like get me out of myself and connect with the bigger. That to me is the great gift of gratitude, is it's like helps me remember that I'm a part of something bigger, and in that way drop away the little chatter. Yeah. And drop away, like, because I have things to do. And if I'm stuck being like blah, 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 blah inside my head, I can't do those things. And I can't tend to those relationships that are bigger than just the blah, blah, blah of myself. So there's songs of gratitude that are for that purpose of pulling me out of myself. There's songs for like, I have some sort of meditative practice in the morning that a song goes with. songs for grace before meals.
Is the meditative
yeah.
practice a specific song that you're always coming to, or does that change?
Yeah, that's the same one. That's the same one in the morning.
May I ask what it is? Or not? That's fine.
You can ask. I won't tell you.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
Those are the main ones that I can think of right now that are like a daily songs. And then there's all the like songs when I am with my friends or with my family, the songs that come up for whatever moment we need. Lots of happy birthday songs, sometimes songs to move some sadness along. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the very earliest song memory you have?
Well, I grew up in a folky family, so my dad played the banjo and my mom played the auto harp and the flute. So there was always lots of music in the family, and my grandma was she was the choir director at her church back in the day. So I don't know what the firsty first was. And then I also listened to a lot of oldies, but the first song that I wrote is hilarious. I think I was 7, and I always took myself so seriously. It's a song about God. And,
sing it to us. Come on.
Okay, oh my God. Okay, I will sing you the first line. It's seems to be somewhat inspired by Fievel at Disney, the American Tale. Anyway, the mouse. But anyway, I was having a lot of inspirations. But when I look back on this, it kills me. But it goes like this. From birth on, I've been reaching out a hand to you. I've been moving right along, trying to tell you it is true. I've made peace with you. Yes, it is true. I've made peace with you. And it goes on and on. And this is about my 7-year-old relationship with God.
Heidi, wow. Yay.
Anyway, so.
Oh, I wish I'd known that 7-year-old. You must have just been fabulous.
Oh my God.
Just like a firecracker.
Wow,
fabulous.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
That does sound like it has Disney echoes. I mean, I think you could have put that in a movie with the, that's like pre-Frozen. You were there. You could have scored Frozen, is the truth of the matter, because you had that sound.
I'm flattered.
That is amazing. When we met at Omega, singing in a Bobby McFerrin workshop on vocal improvisation, circle singing, one of the things that struck me most about you just immediately was your ability to connect and your desire to help and to support others. Where do you think that comes from? That feels like both a skill and a gift to me.
I've been thinking about that lately. I'm I just got a therapist for the first time, and I'm I'm trying to actually figure that one out. I don't know if it's always useful, but anyway, maybe I'm a middle sister, and I feel that maybe middle thing of ooh, how do I help bring this? How do I make this work? How do I help this person? How do I help this person? Yeah. I don't totally know. And I also feel like what I'm here for in the big realm is to be a part of the big unfolding good of all, and be a part of healing change. And I was isn't that what everybody wants? And I don't know. My therapist said maybe not. So I'm I don't know. It feels like asking that question for me is that's just the air. How would I know? I don't know. That's just how I think I am. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I love the process of working with a therapist, somebody who is skilled at asking questions and at kind of catching when I go into automatic responses that are, or or historic responses that aren't necessarily true to who I am in my deep self, or responses that have kind of like accretions, I think of layers, responses that are just, they're a layer that's on top of me.
Yeah.
That I think is who I am. And sometimes therapists can see those answers and help me unpeel that layer off of myself to find, because I feel like we get the most energy when we're connected with our true selves. Yeah. The real core of who we are. I think that gives us just huge energy and bigness, which is so beautiful in the world. I wish it for every single person in the world.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. Yeah. It's true. I'm feeling like I should name also, like, wait, my dad and my mom, they love helping. They love connecting and helping. So, I don't know, shout out to them. Thanks. I just have to say that too.
Yeah.
But being like, what if that, as I am in different parts of my life, what if that is like in service and what if that is old form? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, sometimes, I don't know if you're finding this, sometimes I find that when I'm focused on helping somebody, it stops me from actually seeing them.
Right.
And it stops me from trusting them. Sometimes I notice when somebody else tries to help me, it feels to me like a statement of, well, I don't think you can do it. You need my help to get through this. And so I'm starting to reframe that for myself sometimes, because sometimes I think it's if I'm coming into a situation from I'm the supporter, I'm the helper here, that stops me from seeing who's in front of me. It stops me from seeing what actually is.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like being a song leader, I do a lot of like being in front and like calling the shots. And there's a way that's like, that's also is an interesting position of control. And so I'm like, what does it look like for me to share that? I'm also asking myself that question right now because I really want to hold song circles in a way that people feel really safe and welcome. And I also want to check myself if there's ways that I could share that that is graceful and in integrity with the intention. And I feel like anytime that I'm trying to like help and there's an urgency, that's when I'm trying to like take a breath and step back and be like, okay. Is there another option there?
Yeah. When you participate in a group that somebody else is leading, what do you notice that you most appreciate? What sort of makes you feel really good in a group?
If I feel like the person, like if it's a song leading circle and I step into it, if I feel like the person has their eyes on all of us and is paying attention to us. One of my favorite song leaders is Kathy Bullock. Have you worked with her ever? Yeah, so she's she's
once,
amazing.
But yeah.
And I was like, what do I love about her? And I was like, oh, she is really connected to the heart of the music. And she is so generously welcoming us into that, you know? So it's not about the technicality. It's about the way that the music is like coming through and doing its job. And it's connected to something very deep and heartfelt and spirit felt. And she's welcoming us in and she's like looking around and she's paying attention. She's also like musically masterful. So that's handy. There's an ease that I feel like, I can relax into the ease of her mastery, which, you know, not everybody has to be a master, but that is very handy. So she's like welcoming us in and she's looking around and she's like, okay, tenors. And she's like, this is for you, altos. And she's just like keeping everybody in and swooping us into the heart of it. I think that's what I really love.
Yeah. I noticed just the other day, I was thinking to myself, so for me, song leading live in groups in the oral tradition is a relatively new practice. You know, I started in 2019. I'd been doing all sheet music, choral, traditional music before choral traditional music before that. And I started in 2019, and then the pandemic hit, so I didn't have a lot of chance, and I'm only just starting up leading in groups again. I've been doing online leading, which is very different. And I realized just 2 weeks ago, I thought to myself, Patricia, you're closing your eyes a lot to listen really intently, because it helps me listen when my eyes are closed and I shut down visual input. But that actually is shutting out the people who are there. And I thought I need to actually keep my eyes open, because that's part of including. And so now I have to learn how to keep my eyes open and listen at the same time.
Totally. I was just doing that last night. I was like, I teach a part. I'm listening. I want to close my eyes. I don't close my eyes. I bow my head a tiny bit. I'm gazing at the floor. Is that better than having my eyes closed? Okay, Heidi, look around, girl. And then I'll look at people. And even if my eyes are closed once in a while, I try to be like, is there any part of the circle I haven't looked at? Is there any part of the circle that's just in a blind spot for me? And I was like, oh yeah, over here. I haven't really been looking over here. And just trying to for myself, so that I can get all the feedback that I need to get, just really keep it going, keep it looking around.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about the scheduling change after the pandemic, because now you're balancing the touring and the at home, being able to offer song circles at home. Are there changes or awarenesses from the pandemic that you'd like to keep as you go forward? Are there shifts that you've noticed in yourself or in your groups?
Well, in my song leading and in the song leading groups, a lot of physical awareness. A lot of instead of being let's do this, being this is an invitation. For anybody who feels comfortable, let's take a step in. Okay, take care of yourselves. If you want to sit down, sit down. If you want to stand up, stand up. Okay, and just trying to let people know that whatever is okay with them physically is welcome. And that feels like a big one. And also trying to be more mindful of offering things outside still, because I got so excited about offering things inside because the acoustics are so much more flattering and supportive to the collective experience. But some people still can't do things inside or don't feel comfortable doing things inside. So trying to continue to offer experiences that are outdoors, even if for me it's not as satisfying. For some people, that's what makes it accessible.
Yeah. I'm thinking, how do you care for yourselves besides singing?
My winter mantra: drink water, go outside, move the body. Drink water, go outside, move the body.
Move the body, drink water, go outside, move the body.
Exactly. And saying it doesn't always mean I do it, but it's always right. That one is always right. So I really tried to pay attention to that one. And it really helps me to get some wide views. I'm just thinking in the winter right now, but to go somewhere where I can see a vista, especially big open water. That's like medicine for my eyeballs. I need that. And then
that's kind of hard from the middle of Vermont.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Lake Champlain has some nice big views, so that's only an hour away. But it's different. I also, if I get to go see the ocean, that's really nice. Or I get to see a Great Lake. Ooh, that's good. And I think also it's really important for my well-being to have real deal, how's your soul conversations with people that I love. That feels really important to me. And snuggling and sleeping and avoiding dairy and sugar. Those are the main ways that I try to take care of myself.
That's a great list. That is a great list. And for a 7-year-old who is writing about her relationship with God, I think those big conversations feel like they're probably fundamentally necessary.
Yeah, definitely.
What are the big questions that you're carrying right now that might be coming into some of those conversations?
There's the perennial question that comes up cyclically, sometimes hormonally cyclically. That's like, is what I'm doing enough in these like great unraveling times? Is singing with people to remind ourselves of the seasons and our place doing anything? And then I try to be like, is that even a useful question, Heidi? And that's like my little shame devil speaking. And then I'm like, you are not helping me question. But I just have to voice it. But that one just comes up. That one just comes up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I can usher that doubt out, be like, doubt, thank you, but you are not really being very useful here. Then the more important questions, or the other questions that I have, are like strangely small right now. They're like, how do I keep my very portable and very fragile instrument that is my voice healthy and strong right now? What are the elements for a successful collaboration? Because I'm like working on this collaboration, which is like the first major collaboration that I've been a part of in years, where I like need people. So I'm holding, the other big question I'm holding is like, this is very personal. Is like, how do I recognize my own needs? That's like not something I like to think about. I'm kind of like allergic to talking about my own needs. I'm like, blech. So, like, okay, how do I recognize my own needs? And then how do I include those in making an awesome collaboration? Because this project that I'm working on, I'm like obsessed with. And I really feel like, okay, this is, when I open my gaze huge and look at the whole wide world and these, like I said, unraveling crazy times, I just get so overwhelmed that I get spiraling in doubt. Like, is what I'm doing enough? Is what I'm doing enough? But when I can like hone my lens back down into what I'm actually feeling really passionate and inspired about, then I have traction. And then I'm like, how do I keep my voice strong? How do I make a good collaboration? Where can we share this musical? What communities will it really be important to connect with around? What caves can we perform in? Because I really want to perform this in caves. So hey, people, if you know any caves where I can like share a 3-person singing storytelling musical with a cranky, which is like a scrolling backlit illustration, let me know.
All right, there's the ask, folks. Let's bring it on. Let's get Heidi her caves. I think that's a good goal. I just want to turn back to that great unraveling idea, which I absolutely agree with. And I keep coming back to Joanna Macy's teachings, that it's also a great turning, that it's that same, because I do the same thing you do. It's so easy to spiral right now. It's so easy to feel like it's not working. Yeah. Nothing we do seems to be working. And I don't know, I keep coming back to that for myself, that bottom is really bottom, and if there's going to be a big change, if there's going to be a big turning, it has to come from somewhere that's gotten so bad that people really see it as necessary, because people don't want to change. Yeah. It's natural to not want to change. And it's extremely distressing, and it feels like we're riding an edge on whether it's actually possible to turn. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It feels like it might just founder and not be turnable. But then I think to myself, kind of like what you're doing, does it help me when I'm thinking that? And I think, well, what actually helps me for myself is when I think, how can I step into my full being? Because that's the most helpful thing that I can bring, is myself alive, right?
Yeah, I feel like myself alive, and that's like myself in relationship. And that's that's when I come back to the gratitude, because that's like, oh, hey, I'm not alone. Oh, hey, the squirrel is running down the hill, planting that acorn. Oh, hey, like there's so many beings who are like unweaving, but also reweaving all the time. And if I can remember that I'm part of that, then it's like, oh, okay, there are bigger cycles going on than I can even imagine.
Yeah.
And if I just do like, I'm not mad at the squirrel for doing her little bit of it. So if I can be like, okay, I just do my little bit of it and recognize that I'm part of something bigger, then there's something going on there.
And it's quite a balance, right? Because as a song leader, as you were just saying, you are in charge, right? You're used to being the one who's shaping the experience. And this is a bigger experience that we're not shaping. We're participating in. And I have to say, I don't think collaborating is a small question, a tiny question. I think how to collaborate is, at least for me, it's an ongoing learning, and it's something that's really exciting and feels like where things get bigger. And this sounds so cliched. I feel sort of embarrassed that I hadn't cottoned onto this earlier, but I was so into you have to do it alone, you have to be independent, you have to be strong, you have to be, et cetera, et cetera. And this awareness that what we can create together is so much better than anything I can come up with all on my lonesome, you know?
Yeah. Totally. I feel that.
And the needs, being able to recognize our own needs, and how much being able to bring our needs and name them makes us stronger collaborators and lets the people who are collaborating with us trust us on a deeper level, because they don't have to take care of finding out what our needs are. They can trust that we know what they are.
Amen.
Yeah. So hard. So tell us more. You're excited about this musical. You want to tell us more about that? You want to tell us about anything else that you're excited that you want to share?
Let's see. Yeah, I'm so pumped about this musical.
So pumped. I think that's the first time anybody's said that on this podcast.
Well, good. So Willie and Serena and I did these residencies in wild places, one in this island in Lake Superior and one on the south shore of Martha's Vineyard. And then we went back to Lake Superior, and while we were in these wild places, we were listening for new songs. And then all these awesome new songs came, like songs about a snake and songs about the rocks and songs about grief and songs, just like all these song beings that we got to meet. And then I was back at Lake Superior on the shore of this island, and I was like, how do I hold these songs well? Like, how do I share these in a way that is more than just for the few people in the population who want to come to a concert or who can come to a concert? How do I share this? And the voice was like, it is time for the musical. And I was like, okay. Because it's like a musical is a story, and a story like can reach your heart, and a story can go places that a concert doesn't go as easily, like a living room or a library or a classroom or a cave. I don't know. There's something about a story, a singing story, that feels like it has legs. So I was like, okay, and asked Willie and Serena if they wanted to be a part of this. And they were like, yes. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, now I need people. I can't do this by myself. This is terrifying, and this is awesome. And so I was working on weaving together the story and the songs, and then I'd bring it to Willie and Serena, and then we'd work on it more, and then I'd work on it more. And then we swooped in my dear friend who's an amazing visual artist, Jen Jones. She's also a great songwriter. And we swooped her in for the visuals of making this cranky. So it's like scrolling image, and she's just making exquisite paper cut art of all these wild ones. And so it's the story of a time of like when a great fog rolls in, and it's a fog of forgetting and of isolation. And one young woman goes on this journey of remembering her kinship with the more than human world. And there's like a sassy snail, and there's a patient snake, and there's this mysterious crow, and there's this oak grove. And it's just like this journey. And it's been such a crazy experience for me of dedication to this project for, I don't know, like a year and a half, 2 years now, of like, okay, just keep going, keep going. And it's coming to life. And we're going to be sharing it in Minnesota this spring, and then in New England in later summer. And then we're also working on an album of songs. Maybe half of them are in the musical and half of them are from other places. Yeah, so that's personally what feels creatively really exciting to be sharing right now.
Is there anywhere online that people can go to find out more or possibly to support this project?
That's a cool question. You could look at heartwoodtrio.com, and that's our website. And we've got, do we have a thing up there? We just finished fundraising for the album, which was really exciting and successful. And thank you, everybody.
Yay.
But I don't know if we have any other ways to support it. But you can certainly find out about what's coming up, workshops and classes and performances coming up, and ways to order the CD also. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
We'll also stick that in the show notes. So if you missed it, you can find it in the show notes.
Great. Thank you.
So you ready for lightning round questions? What's an album that was really important to you?
I listened to Joni Mitchell's Blue a lot in middle school. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, like, I don't actually listen to that much music. My husband teases me a lot. He's like, you never listen to music. I'm like, it's true. But I listen to some like Swedish traditional fiddle music. And then lately I've also been listening to Serena, my collaborator and dear friend's album, Serena Partridge. She just put out an amazing album called Songs to Reroute and Remember.
Oh, I'll have to go find that.
Mostly I listen to stories.
I'm thinking you just nailed the fourth question. You just did a double. We were struck by a double bolt of lightning. What is your favorite soup?
My favorite soup? Beef stew. I have thought about this many times in my life. If I could only eat one thing, it would be beef stew. Or maybe I might even like venison stew better. But yeah.
That is not what I expected to hear come out of your mouth. Nice. What is a sound that you feel strongly about?
Oh.
It doesn't have to be a positive feel or a negative feel.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but just that you feel strongly about.
Okay, I'll give you two. I love the sound of a bass singer, like somebody with a really resonant bass voice that I'm sitting next to, and I just want to like lean up against them. And I really do not like the sound of Makita drill batteries charging. That's like my least favorite sound. Okay. So the fourth question is, who is an artist you wish more people listened to? Yeah, I am miserable at this question. I feel like, wow, what a great opportunity for me to plug somebody. And I don't know. I would listen to Serena Partridge. She's amazing. I would also suggest this incredible Estonian choral group called Heinevanker. They just did this Songs of Olden Times that is like ancient runic songs and folk hymns. And my friend Gideon told me about them, and the recording is just exquisite. Yeah, so...
Okay, looking that one up too. Great, I love this. I mean, the whole reason for these questions is selfish because it's just me wanting to explore some new soups, wanting to listen to some people that I haven't listened to.
Yeah.
Where can we find you and follow your projects?
Yeah, so HeidiAnnWilson.com and Heartwood.
And with or without an E?
No E, thank you for that. Heartwoodtrio.com. And then I also have a Patreon, which has been a really amazing way that I've been able to share music and make a living as a song leader. And that's Patreon. I don't actually know what that is, but it's Heidi Wilson on Patreon.
Yeah. A huge thank you to you, Heidi, for coming on A Breath of Song. And a huge thank you to you, our listeners. I'm so glad you're singing with us. You can visit abreathofsong.com to see show notes with lyrics, links, and Patty Pietrowski's glorious artwork. You can sign up to get artwork and music in your mailbox. How beautiful is that? And be one of the generous people who put something into the gratitude jar to help cover the costs. Before Patty or I is paid, 25% is donated to the Jazz Foundation of America, which directly supports jazz, blues, and roots musicians in need. The skill and the artistry of these musicians has directly shaped most of the music that I share on this podcast in some way or another. Yet historically they have been inadequately recognized and unfairly recompensed. This is a small step toward restoration that we can take together. Let's sing the feast again to help it sink in more deeply. We're going to use Heidi's recording so that we all can sing it with harmonies resonating around in our heads. But just before we do that, Heidi, tell us, with this song, do you like hearing these specific harmonies, or do you feel like it's open for people to harmonize freely?
Oh.
How do you feel about this song?
With this song, I feel excited for people to sing whatever is in their ears and coming out their mouths. I think that's great. All harmonies welcome. Definitely.
Beautiful.
Definitely.
Holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast. Oh, holy fire in the sun, water in the river, and wind within my lungs. Oh, holy earth beneath my feet. All of us are offerings and also at the feast.
Great. Great.
Heidi, thank you so much for coming today. And thank you, listeners and singers, for joining Heidi and me for A Breath of Song. I'm grateful that you're taking care of yourself and listening to your voice. I believe making a better world starts with tuning into ourselves and each other, which is what we just did. So, yay us!
Woohoo! Thank you.
If you're liking this podcast, please share with a friend, and next time we'll plant another song. Until then, be well.
Thank you so much.
You can hit stop.
Oh, okay. I can hit stop.